Good evening. Welcome to Sugar and Silk. My name is Ben Doughty.
My name is Michael Silcolagide.
And I'm Virgil Quicksilver Hill.
Oh yeah, the champ. How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
Doing really good, man.
Good.
It's been years. I remember the first time I saw you in person was like 1988 in Vegas.
Okay.
Remember,
Very well.
you came to my fight, and I wanted to speak to you and the whole thing, and then I don't know what happened. It's like everything just got lost. Like you disappeared.
Yeah.
The fight was over, and that was it. We were all gone together.
It tends to happen like that in Vegas. Just poof, everybody's gone.
Yeah. So listen, I mean, I have so much I want to ask you, and I know Ben has so much
Okay.
to ask you, and we're gonna be fumbling over each other trying to get the questions out. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start first. I remember your nickname, Quicksilver. Now I remember Marvel Comics. I was a big fan of Marvel Comics, and there was a speed guy. His name was Quicksilver, one of the superheroes.
Mhm.
Is that where your
No,
nickname comes from?
it did not.
Ah,
No. What happened was on my first fight, I was such a big, Sugar Ray Leonard fan. I was going to call myself Sugar Hill, right?
ah,
So my first pro fight, I went out and they introduced me and they said Sugar Hill, and it did not sound right at all, at all. And my dad said, "Well, why don't you just name yourself, Quicksilver? You got a silver medal in the Olympics, and you got good hand speed."
yeah.
Boom. That's what happened.
Wow. Okay.
Went
Okay.
from there. Yeah.
That's funny. Ben, you have
Yeah.
So, if if we could talk about the amateurs for a little while, Virgil. We were talking off
Sure.
camera for a second, and
Hmm.
we know you boxed Michael Nunn 3 times. Initially, you
Yes.
disputed with me that you boxed him 3 times. You figured your
Right.
memory was that you beat him twice. It seems that
Yeah.
you beat him in the Olympic trials final in 1984. Then he beat you in the first box off, and then very shortly afterwards, you righted that wrong and beat him again to go 2-1
Yeah.
up in the series to win the Olympic
Yeah.
place. What do you remember
So
about that
like
series?
shortly afterwards is like the next day.
Yeah,
We
literally,
fought in
literally.
La-
Yeah,
yeah, we fought in Las Vegas. We had to box off up there. I beat him in the trials. We had to box off. And ironically enough, half of the team that won lost. So they would have boxing
yeah,
matches the next day. And
yeah.
so
Well, that's how
I ended up fighting,
Pernell
huh?
Whitaker. Pernell Whitaker, who
Per,
was also part of the team. He lost.
Pernell, yeah, everybody was there. And so I had to fight him the next day. And I ended up beating him
Uh,
there.
how,
So yeah,
how
you were
was
definitely right.
how was he as an amateur? Like the both of you, did you guys have
guys. This
that
is
amateur
going
rivalry?
disastrously for me here. I don't know how the
Okay,
broadcast is to anyone else, but this is just cutting out all the time, and I'm not sure whose internet is the problem or what's going on.
yeah. Well, we're fine. Quick and I are fine, so we'll just keep it going, quick, and hopefully the people
Okay.
are fine. um,
Um,
yes. So this. Who was your biggest amateur rivalry, I guess, if not Michael Nunn? Because you guys were both super middleweights?
yeah, it was Michael Grogan. I kept having losing to him. He was a southpaw, and
Yeah.
he was ideally the middleweight they wanted in there, but uh, I couldn't beat Michael Nunn. He was southpaw, older guy, been there for a long time,
Yeah.
um, politically strong
Yeah.
as well, and
Yeah.
I just couldn't get past him. But he would lose to somebody, then I would fight that somebody and beat that guy. You know
Ah,
what I mean?
yeah, I know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean.
yeah,
That's cool. I'd take
yeah,
that too. Whatever way it happens, it's
yeah.
good.
Well, Michael Nunn fought at 150, 56 pounds.
Yeah.
And he just bumped up, just before the trials.
Yeah. Yeah. I
They
heard.
moved him up. He moved up,
Yeah.
and he never fought. He never fought at 65
Uh,
past year and a half that I was around. He
uh,
just moved up because he thought he could beat me,
I
but
see.
he couldn't be. But he couldn't beat Frank Tate. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember Frank. I fought Frank for the title. That was a disastrous
mm,
attempt, but you fought Frank as well, didn't you? You fought him twice.
yes, twice.
Yeah, and you beat him as well.
Yeah, tried to beat the brakes off him, boy. Did not like that
But
guy.
Do you know
Are
there was an
you-
interesting guy that you fought a couple of times called Michael Grogan who beat Holyfield.
we
He
just
got a
talked
win
about
against
that.
yourself. Yeah, and he also beat Michael, won and lost against Michael Nunn. And it's interesting sometimes you get a guy like that who showed that amount of promise in the vest. Then he turned pro, lost his debut, had a couple more fights, and then retired. So you get these kind of lost stars from the amateurs who just don't make a splash in the paid ranks, Virgil.
Well, I think he stayed in the amateurs too long.
Yes,
You know.
like there's other like Kelsey Banks and that kind of syndrome, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see sometimes.
Robert Shannon was like that.
Robert Shannon.
Yeah, there are a
Yeah.
lot of guys that just sort of like who is it? The kid from Jackson from down south.
Clint Jackson. Clint Jackson.
And Johnny Bumpus, Bump City Bumpus.
By the way, Michael, if you put your head more in the center of that frame, we get your one good eye if you get right in the middle. You see what I'm saying? Virgil, I want to talk about how much of a crushing disappointment was it to lose in the final in 1984 to Jun Sup Shin? I do remember a quote from you in Boxing News I read, and you said, right now the Olympics is the big deal, but next year they'll be asking who won. Was that trying to mask the disappointment to a degree?
I don't really recall that. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, my idea was that I didn't know the natural transition was to turn pro anyway. Because you got to remember, I got on the Olympic team a year before the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, so myself, Evander Holyfield,
Pernell?
Huh?
Pernell Whitaker?
No, Purnell is a world champion already. I didn't get on that team, that team until
Yeah.
until the very first year. Then I fought every tough country, Cuba, Yugoslavia. I fought everybody. That's what Michael Grogan didn't do. He didn't fight anybody. I was in training camp. I was in training camp for a whole year, fighting all the toughest countries. We fought Cuba, Russia, everybody.
And you saying that you didn't necessarily think about turning pro at the time?
I didn't know that was a natural transition.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know because where I come from in North Dakota, there's 750,000 people total.
Yeah.
So boxing is definitely not that's not the boxing hub of,
I asked you about that. What brought you into boxing? What made you want to box? Because you grew up in a place where there's literally pretty much none of it.
None of it. Yeah. Yeah, there was none. But I fought a lot. I had over 300 amateur fights, or roughly 300 amateur fights. So I fought a lot in the local states and stuff, being Minnesota, Montana, Wyoming and stuff like that. But we did fight a lot, but just not the caliber of fighters. What changed my mind is I just got tired of making it to the nationals and having to sit for 4 or 5 more days, losing your first fight or losing your third fight, and you got to watch everybody else fight and then drive home. And I just got tired of sitting and made up my mind.
I get it. So you're highly competitive, but what brought you into the boxing gym?
We lived on a farm. My father was a farmer and a plumber at that time. And we lived on a farm, and I saw Golden Glove boxing on TV. And back in those days, if you made it to the finals, you came out with golden gloves and fought. And that's what I saw. And then after that, it was like the Olympics, seeing Sugar Ray Leonard and stuff like that. So yeah, that inspired me.
So you started really young. How old were you when you started boxing?
8 years old.
8 years old. Wow.
8 years old. Lost my first fight.
You know what? It's remarkable how many really good fighters and world champions lose their first fight. It seems to be this kind of inspirational truth about boxing. There are so many truly good and great fighters who lost their first start for some reason.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't just box though. I mean, I played football and I wrestled and ran track and I did a variety of different sports and stuff. But boxing was always a constant. It was football and boxing, wrestling and boxing.
Did
Yeah.
you have a
Like
boxing
that.
hero? Did you have a hero in the
I
room?
had a couple of heroes. I had Tommy Hearns, and I had
Oh, right.
Sugar Ray Leonard, and Muhammad Ali. I had all those guys.
So I don't want to jump forward too much because we're getting ahead of ourselves. But since you mentioned Tommy Hearns and him being a
Jump
hero,
ahead.
did that give you strange emotions about fighting him?
It's just, me being a trainer now. It's difficult to fight, one of your idols and stuff.
Well, yeah,
It's just, it was different, and but it was a wonderful experience. It put me at it was a whole different level of boxing. You can be a world champion and not get a chance to get to that other level, and it put me at that level, the other level.
yeah.
When I fought Hearns, which was just a little before you fought him, Virgil, it was interesting when I fought him. I like Angelo had this strategy planned out, and that's what we were going to do. So we went in there. I went in there in the first round, and I caught him with a left hook. And when I hit him with that hook, and I thought it was a real good counter, and when I hit him, it was like really. I want to see if you actually have any recollection of that for your own fight. I hit him, and I hit him solid. I thought, man, he's really like it was dense, like it was like hitting like a sand filled bag. It was really hard. There was no soft. So I was like, dang, this dude here is like, I don't know. I didn't get
And
Yeah,
that's funny because some
and
people
then I
said Tommy was
realized,
fragile.
and then I realized, yeah, you would think he'd be fragile, but here's the thing, Ben. When you hit a man, if you punch to him, that's different than punching through him.
Yeah.
And one of the things I did was I punched to him, and the guys that were most successful in beating him were the guys that punched to him. Either Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Iran
Okay.
Barkley. When you try to box Tommy Hearns, you're in for a long night because he's about reflexes and he hits hard. So you're on double duty right there. And correct me if I'm wrong, Virgil, but when you decided to take it to him and step to him, it started to change a little bit. But that's
yeah,
something you have to implement early with someone like Hearns, right?
yeah. Well, mine is probably not as sophisticated as what you just said, but when I hit him with my left hand, and I'm left-handed too, I
Yeah,
hit him with the left hand, my best shot, and he acted like
yeah,
nothing happened.
yeah.
My best
Crazy.
shot,
Yeah,
bam, hit him with the heart of the left hook, and he just
yeah.
like
He's
that
over.
wasn't. It was nothing.
Yeah,
So mentally in my mind, I'm going like this. Oh my God,
yeah.
that was my best shot.
Uh-huh.
And this guy just walked right through it like it was
Yeah,
nothing. That was it was him and Roy Jones both did the same thing. Those are the only two fighters I ever saw do
yeah,
Which
something like that just shook it off,
which
Not even shake it off. They just didn't even it
register?
was like nothing. It was like,
Which of the
is that all
two,
you got?
with a gun to the head, Virgil? Which of the two would you say was the more formidable complete fighter from Roy Jones or Thomas Hearns? The better fighter in
Oh,
your opinion? Huh?
Tommy.
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 Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
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 So Virgil,
Absolutely.
since we're here, let's talk about something because we all get hit, and we've all been dropped, and we've all been hurt.
Right.
That shot against Roy Jones that hit you in the body, was that in a floating rib or was it a kidney? Was it like a liver
It
shot?
was
Like,
it was more to the back, but it was
yeah,
just it was he like it was time perfect. I
yeah,
would have said that was a lucky shot, but
yeah,
when I watched the video and him and his coach mentioned, he said go to the body
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, had I not if I could have got out of that fight, that particular round, it would have
Yeah.
been a different fight, I think.
Now, let me ask you.
But
So when that like that kind of shot, a lot of people don't understand when you get hit in the head, you don't really feel it because there's like a numbness that happens. Your brain is affected, but when you
yeah,
get hit in the body, you feel pain, like
oh,
nothing else.
there like nothing other
Yeah,
than nothing other. You are fully conscious the whole
yeah,
time.
yeah. Your
When
brain
you
goes.
get knocked out, you just close your eyes.
Yeah.
You get knocked out. But that body shot, well, that was the most painful thing I ever had to deal with.
It's
I,
crazy, right?
uh,
And that kind
yeah,
of
it broke
that kind of
my
pain,
rib. I was
yeah.
done.
Oh, so it
I don't
wasn't.
even remember. Look, I don't even remember them counting from 1 to 6,
Yeah. Wow.
and then
Because
I got up.
you're so in it. You're like so deep in the pain. Yeah, and I know what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but
I
when the referee said, walk to me, say something. When I
yeah,
opened my mouth, nothing came out.
Yeah.
Nothing.
that's crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy, definitely. But that was well. You got punch of the year
Yeah,
off that shot.
Yeah.
So at least I can. I feel better about that part of it, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, punch of the year.
yeah.
You know, Virgil, people talk in boxing. There are these cliches and there are narratives that get
Yeah.
regurgitated over the years. Like the World and his brother says that Larry Holmes is underrated, which I don't believe he is because the World and his brother says so. But I think a guy like Virgil Hill is truly underrated. When we look at your
No.
resume, you defended that WBA light heavyweight championship 10 times before
Yeah,
losing to an all-time great in Tommy Hearns. You
yeah,
became a WBA cruiserweight champion. Your record reads like a who's who of your era or one and a half
Thank
eras.
you,
And I don't think you honestly get the credit that you are due these days. Can I ask you about that and how you feel about what I just said?
guys. I did things that I had no idea that I would ever. I have gone places that I had no idea. I didn't even know what they were. Where they were, what they were, and stuff like that. The things that I accomplished for myself, were not even things that I remotely even thought of when I was younger and stuff like that. I am satisfied with the things that I did in boxing, and you know, you got to remember, I'm just a country boy that comes from North
Yeah.
Dakota, and
So it doesn't really bother you. It doesn't bother you
it
about
doesn't not
whether
not
you
at
got
all. Look,
victories.
look. I know what I did, and I don't have to. I don't have to. I don't have a guy's room where I have all my belts and stuff like that. I
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
every one of my
Man
belts
cave.
away. Yeah,
Well,
man cave. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I gave every one of my belts away to people that I thought were deserving of it and that were supportive and stuff. And
nice.
it meant more to them than
Yeah,
me looking at it every day.
yeah,
I know what I
do you
did.
yeah.
do you think it's healthy to actually let go of past glories a little bit and not live in the past in that fashion?
Repeat that. I'm sorry, I
I'm
got
saying,
distracted.
do you think it's healthy to let go of past glories and not cling to the past too much?
It just depends on the individual,
Yeah,
and how they receive it and stuff. I'm kind of a humble guy and stuff like that. I grew up humble and stuff. It's just who I am.
Yeah,
Um, Not everybody's like that. James Tony,
yeah,
he's a bigger than life guy and stuff like that. Some people are like that, and some people aren't. I'm just not. I mean, in boxing, the squeaky wheel gets the grease,
yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
yeah,
but I
yeah,
wasn't,
yeah.
I wasn't that guy.
So, Virgil,
That's a
let me
great
ask you.
quote, by the
You're,
way.
you're
That's a great
Virgil.
example.
Thank
Let
you.
me ask you. You're. I guess what would people could refer to as a contained fighter, right? You fight within like a parameter. You have like guardrails. You're not wild. That kind of
Mhm.
punch. Do you find yourself? Have you ever in a fight gone outside those lines? Like, were you initiated and were really aggressive and just let your hands go?
No, I mean, I did what I had to do.
Yeah,
Whatever the occasion called for, I tried to do it. There were
yeah,
times when, I sat down and
yeah,
stuff. Not my particular, you
yeah.
know,
It's not your cup of tea. So,
yeah.
would you say that is that reflective of your personality also?
I don't know that yeah. Well, I am a quick counterpunch mover guy, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But I never really thought about what the other guy was going to do.
yeah,
Because how do you have time? I tell my kids this in the gym. I go, how do you have time to think about what you're going to do
yeah,
and what they're going to do and then put it all together
yeah, yeah, yeah.
in 3 minutes?
Yes. Yeah,
I
it's
only
got to
thought
be.
about what I was going to do.
Yeah,
And if he could stop it. Now, if he can stop it, I'll do something else.
yeah. That's interesting. So I mean, but you were a counter puncher as well. You're a very
Yes.
good counter puncher. So I guess it's just
Converted southpaw.
converted southpaw. So
I
let
was a
me,
lefty.
yeah. So you're left-handed and you use your left. And so let me ask you, in training, did you mostly like was that from a kid you mastered the jab? Did you put all of your effort into your jab? Because that seemed to be like that
Well,
was your,
it's all I ever, it's all I ever had, because back in my day when I first started, my trainers were old time trainers.
yeah,
So they were, 50s,
yeah,
60s, maybe even 40
yeah,
guys. And back in those days, southpaws didn't get fights.
yeah.
So they just kept me orthodox.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Southpaws didn't get fights. I never even fought a southpaw till I got to like the nationals.
Huh.
I had a harder time fighting southpaws than I did fighting, anybody else.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I'm left-handed.
yeah.
But everybody's switching now. Now everybody's out there southpaws and they're leading with their
Yeah.
strong hand and stuff.
I think that makes sense.
Things are
Yeah.
switching.
It does make sense for your strongest hand to be your busiest hand, like to be
Yeah.
your lead hand. Like the let's say it used to be like 90% orthodox and 10% southpaw, and it's kind of switching up now. You see a lot more southpaws, but I
A
think
lot more.
yeah, I think even still there should be if you're right-handed, you should be leading with your right because you can do so much more with it, and your left
Well, yeah.
power.
Yeah. The only problem with that I find with it is then you won't use your power hand or your backhand.
Yeah.
So I didn't use my right hand probably, 10% of the time
Uh,
and stuff. So,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
so that's
this
what'll happen is they won't develop that backhand. They won't
yeah,
develop that.
yeah. Well, that happened with me a lot. Like because when you're, let's say, in the gym you're growing up in, if you're the guy that's in the lead and you're the guy, if you're the best guy in the gym, you're not going to get sparring that's going to compete with you unless you can afford to bring it in, right? So you have to you're just jabbing these guys. You don't know you're building a habit that now you're just leading with the left hand no matter what. I mean, I was pretty much for most of my amateur career and even through the early pros, I was like a slot machine, just a one arm bandit kind of thing. And
Mm.
and I saw you. I noticed how you consistently led with the left, and you were really accurate within discipline. I was like, he must not be sparring with both hands. Like maybe he's, you know what I mean. Your mind goes anywhere to try to figure out what's going on. I think maybe you as well. You weren't sparring with both hands because you'd hurt him if you throw both hands. So you just went with the left.
There was no scientific, no, thing. Yeah. I sparred with a lot of, because I didn't get a lot of sparring and stuff. And this is back in the amateur days and stuff. Uh, I had to work with the work that was in there. So I call them tiny tots, the little guys. So I would get the little guys in there and then the bigger guy, bigger and bigger, and
Yeah,
add to it. And, it just helped me develop, to be able to control how fast or how hard I could throw my actual jab. Now,
yeah.
throwing the right hand was not a lot of control
Uh,
stuff. If I either threw it or I didn't throw it.
hmm,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And you we have a mutual friend, and this mutual friend, he's the head of the Atlantic City Boxing Hall of Fame. And
Oh,
he
radar.
used to work with you, right?
Yes.
Birthday, yeah. Ray McCline, of course, I'm talking about.
Yes.
McCline said to say hi. I was speaking to him just the other day, and you guys had some good times together.
Awesome guy. He has done a lot with a little,
Yes,
you know.
yeah,
He's done what he's done for boxing in that area
yeah,
and abroad
yeah.
has been phenomenal.
And what he continues to do for boxing is really
Yeah,
it's really
it's
amazing.
awesome.
And I'm always
We
trying
need
to,
more guys. We need more guys like him for sure.
if we had guys like him in boxing, more guys like him, boxing would really flourish. People who really
Yeah,
love it, and then guys who understand fighters and guys who understand entertainment
yeah.
and professionality. That's exactly what it
Well,
needs.
he's passionate. He's passionate
Yes,
about what he does and stuff, and it's an enjoyment to be around him because he helps get everything moving
Yeah.
again. And we need more guys like him, like this. We need more guys like this, like what you guys are doing. This
Yeah.
is awesome.
Oh man, we're really both so honored. I know Ben's off right now; he'll be back in a second. But I know we're both so honored and excited to speak to you. There's a ton of
Thank you.
questions coming your way. I know Ben's gonna have some, but while he's not here, I'm gonna jump on and give you some more. Did you choose boxing, or did boxing choose you?
Little of both.
Little of both.
A little of both. Um, uh, Getting ready to graduate from high school stuff. Well, I'm not going to get that football scholarship.
Uh-huh. Hey, what position did you play? What position?
Running back.
Running back. Huh?
Yeah. Give me the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your team now? Who's your team?
The Chiefs.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm originally from Missouri. I'm born in Missouri, but raised in North Dakota.
Okay.
So my father was a big Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Listen, I have to say, I mean, obviously, I'm a Raider. Nothing could have been better. Like, if you're going to get an injury and you wear an eye patch, it couldn't be anything better for like a Raider fan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
we have some people in England that are going to be watching the show, so they may not understand American football.
Okay.
Football is like not soccer, and
not rugby. It is not rugby either.
Closer to rugby than soccer.
Rugby is a little rougher and probably a little better athletes as well. I lived in Australia. I lived in Australia for a year. I trained with Jeff Finnick and Johnny Lewis for a year, and until I won my title back after I fought Tommy Hearns, because I had to regroup, and went there for a year. It was the best thing I ever did. Got me back on track.
Somebody wanted to ask me you about that. Somebody said, ask him about training with Johnny Lewis. Sorry for my absence, by the way, guys. Having a bit of a nightmare with the internet tonight. Someone said, be sure to ask him about Johnny Lewis and that whole kind of experience.
One of the best trainers I ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
For a guy to motivate, and he wasn't knowledgeable in a lot of. He wasn't Emmanuel Stewart, for sure. Nobody is, but as far as getting somebody in shape and stuff, and that's a lot of those guys were just in great shape. Yeah. I mean, they were the stuff that we did was phenomenal. It was unbelievable.
You know, Virgil.
Yeah, Jeff Finnick was unbelievable runner and fanatic in training. Yeah.
You just reminded me, Virgil, talking about coaches. I seem to remember an interview with Freddie Roach years ago when he spoke about not getting too friendly and too much buddy with a fighter. And he said, I made that mistake with Virgil Hill. He said, we were too friendly with one another to the point where I didn't have the authority over him I should have had. Does that mirror your thoughts on the relationship?
Well, we were both young. I mean, I was a world champion at the time and stuff like that. And Freddie was just getting his feet wet. I'm Freddie's first world champion. And, and we were just kind of going through it together. I had Eddie Futch at first, and then I switched to, I'm the one that brought Freddie in.
Yes.
But I mean, we're 4 years apart. We could be brothers.
Yes, I see that.
The age difference and stuff. The
seniority.
Well, that and just I still had respect and stuff like that, just because of how influential he was with. He changed my pad work, and just in conditioning in itself was different. Freddie was a phenomenal runner. This guy could run sub 4 minute miles, repeat, unbelievable. Yeah. So, we were just.
That's one thing in his fights. He had too amazing endurance. You'd never see him count. He'd always finish stronger than he started.
Yeah, he was real tough, and he come up in a tough time too. His family life tough. He had 4 brothers. They all boxed.
Yeah.
Some of the best sparring I ever saw at Johnny Taco's gym in Las Vegas was
Yeah.
him and his brothers. I couldn't believe you could hit your brother like that.
Oh, yeah. I've seen guys do that.
Unreal.
Yes. Yeah. They're the
And
worst.
still be friends.
Yeah.
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 They said
Brothers
they
go-
said Mike and Tyrone Everett had legendary wars in the Philly gyms. Mike and Tyrone.
Really?
70s. They said-
Well, Philly period has unbelievable work.
yeah.
Yeah. Philly, if you get beat up in the gym, you better come back the next day or don't show up ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time that you didn't love boxing when you were fighting?
The politics of boxing, you got to remember I ran towards the end. I was doing my own thing, and you find out some hard things. I remember, I was trying to get with oh God, I can't remember his name. Well, in any case, having someone say, nobody wants to pay a dime for something that's worth a nickel, right? That was said to me, because it was part of the negotiations and stuff.
Yeah.
Hurtful to your pride,
Sure.
to be calling you a nickel and
Yeah.
you want a dime.
Yeah.
But very true.
Yeah. Yeah.
The truisms and stuff like that came out when having to, navigate my own career and stuff. I still had a good manager, Bill Sorensen, who was mayor of Bismarck State, and he was a really good manager. But he had to learn it and catch up to it.
Yes.
And so, yeah, very, very difficult.
It's
very difficult.
And it hurts you more than anything because you're the fighter who needs that. You need
Yeah.
and you need to have, like, it's great when you have self-worth. You know what your worth is, and that's
Yeah.
very hard to do as a boxer because these are the numbers
Yeah.
the promoters and the managers they keep to themselves, or they don't really
Yeah.
share those things with us. So you don't know your worth. You don't know what a fight's worth. How many fights do you think you have fought that where you've received a fair share of the purse that you thought you should have?
Well, I like to think all of them.
So you think you were paid accurately for all the fights that you've had?
Well, I hope so. I hope that the people that I had in there negotiating for me and stuff like that did the top job. I don't want to think otherwise, or
From that
yeah.
If that question was
Yes.
asked to you, Michael, what would you say?
I would say absolutely not. No,
No.
I was absolutely taking advantage of knowing the way the TV markets and everything work now. Like I remember fighting on NBC for, I don't know, what was my first fight? $20,000, and this is like a internationally televised fight. It just doesn't make sense. Even in those days, it was 87, but still, I hear what people were getting in purses back then. And I'm just like, wow, it just didn't make sense, but it made sense to fight for visibility. You know what I mean? But then,
Right.
but yeah,
But let me say something to you that will make you feel better about that $20,000 that you made. I have fighters out here that they do A side, B side stuff out here, where the A side pays for the B side, right? So the B side gets a purse, but the A side doesn't get a purse unless you're in California and they got to give you a minimum of $100 a round or whatever. You fight a 6-round fight, you're $600. When you start at the very bottom and you grind to the top and stuff, you'll feel better about that. It'll help make you feel a little better about that.
Yeah, I remember. Brother, I remember my first fight. I came out of Vancouver, and there wasn't much boxing there. So my first fight was I fought a 6-rounder, and I got $300, and I know I didn't get any of that money because we had to live. So it's not like I bought anything with it. So I do absolutely recall those times. But I was just thinking, like, does every fighter experience these things, or is it something that, is this something? I mean, I know obviously I'm not the only one to experience it, but think if the more fighters know their worth, like that's one thing that Floyd Mayweather introduced. Maybe he didn't introduce it. Sugar Ray Leonard, for instance, introduced it. He didn't just take anything that
Well,
they were offering.
Sugar Ray was the start of it for sure,
And then
and
and then
Mayweather has enhanced it. But
yeah,
you got to look at how many people in front of Mayweather in his own family.
mhm,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So he got all the don't do's, and don't do's, and
yeah,
don't do's.
yeah. And
Yeah.
finally,
Nobody gave me that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Nobody
I
was,
saw.
you know.
By the way, guys, I saw Floyd Mayweather box last night after a fashion, in London.
Oh, did he? Did he box? Who did he box?
He did an exhibition last night in London, and I went to it because
Oh,
Natalie had never seen Floyd Mayweather live before, and I knew she would appreciate the chance of a night out. So it was kind of a farcical event, but we went anyway. And I saw, as meaningless as it was, you still see those amazing skills and that speed and reflexes he still has.
yeah.
And it's still, I wouldn't say, yeah, it was strange. It was a strange atmosphere, but it's still Floyd Mayweather, right?
And who did he fight?
He fought a guy who's not even really a boxer. I think he may have had a couple of pro fights. He's famous for a reality TV show. That's the way life works now, right? And
YouTuber.
he's not an MMA fighter.
The YouTube deal.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the real boxing fans who are tuning into this page right now, this interview with an illustrious name like yourself, Virgil, those are the real fans.
Thank you.
The people who are tuning into that nonsense that's going on elsewhere tonight. Anyone who's watching this instead, I salute you all.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, I think everything has its place. I mean, the YouTube stuff, it has its place, but it's not boxing.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's an insult to guys like myself and yourselves and stuff like that to go, to call these guys fighters and stuff like that, and you're not fighting real fighters. Now,
Absolutely.
one of my kids go like this. Well, Coach, are you jealous? I go, yeah, I am. This guy's making $100 million. I'm sitting over here with, crutches and hobbling around and and stuff. It was real for me. It was real. Not that is not real, but I think that has its place.
Yeah.
But it's not boxing. It's not traditional, real, you, me, Tommy Hearns, all those guys, it's not that.
Well, the thing is, what a lot of people may not understand is boxing just isn't about the fight. It's not just about the fight. It never is just about the fight. It's the training. It's the development of the skills and the price you pay of going every single day to develop your abilities. That's what a true fighter is. Anyone can get in there and hit pads and do and all that kind of stuff and go in there and knock someone out, but make it a career then. Make it a career.
I never hit pads.
No.
This whole pad. I never hit pads when I was a kid.
It's
they didn't have pads.
Yeah, we didn't have
pads. They're overrated, Virgil? Do you think they're overrated?
I never did pads.
Yeah.
I hit their hands a little bit to warm up before I got in there, but there wasn't pads. And now now you have pad guys. Guys that have never fought.
Yes. Yeah.
Never fought, and you're moving around telling the kids how to throw punches and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, it's crazy because with pads, it's nuts because the greatest fighters of all time, like I don't know if Sugar Ray Leonard came up hitting pads. I highly doubt it, but Muhammad Ali didn't. Sonny Liston.
They hit the bag.
Would you hold the mitts for Sonny Liston? I wouldn't.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. But even like visualization is so important, right? Like visualization, being able to see the fight and be able to counter. So pads are kind of like entertainment for the fighter. Like what the way Floyd hits him, he hits him because he's, maybe
it's because it's cute and it's flashy and it's fluffy and it sounds good and stuff like that. But why did you do that?
But exactly.
What reason?
Having said that, I do believe there are certain kind of pad work that does work.
Yes,
well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the guy has to know what he's doing, and it has you have to be able to visualize help your fighter visualize the punch and then the counter or whatever it is.
Yeah. But look, I've always had a hard time, talking to someone, or, we're talking about boxing or this and that, and their coaching and stuff like that. And I ask them, did you ever box? Well, no. I'm like, that doesn't mean that ultimately you can't be a trainer, but I'm like, how do you know what it's like to get punched in the mouth? How do you describe that?
We've spoken about this quite a lot, even on this podcast, Virgil. Obviously, there are all-time great coaches like Ray Arcel and Angelo Dundee, who never boxed. And I don't think Costamato, I think he may have had one amateur fight just about. But those guys were around it for decades, and they were around.
But his brother fought.
Yeah.
Angelo Dundee's brother was the guy. Dundee was not the guy. It was his brother.
Yes.
That was the guy. Yeah.
And he was around when Angelo Dundee had his apprenticeship in New York. He was working corners 6 nights a week because there was that much work for a second in those days. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, they would go to to famous favorite diners and favored places where he would soak up knowledge from guys like Charlie Goldman and Ray Arcel, and that's the company he was hanging in. So he had served a really intense, proper apprenticeship. Whereas I suspect nowadays a lot of guys come out the woodwork when they've seen a few Instagram videos. And they get this idea that they're going to be a coach extraordinaire. And some of them actually leapfrog quite a few levels before anybody says, you're a fraud.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, again, that's another one of those things that it has its place. But I don't know. Look, you've had to have boxed or you've had to have sparred or something before you give me some.
It really does help. It does help. Yeah. And boxing is kind of like even in terms of its popularity, you look at it, it used to be this like rushing, raging river, and now it's starting to trickle down into like a stream. It doesn't have we don't have the same level, we don't have the same depth of talent or the depth of people to choose from, right?
Because of your amateur program.
Yes.
If your amateur program sucks,
yes,
boxing is going to suck.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Get your amateur program in line.
Yes.
Don't get rid of it.
Yeah.
If you get rid of boxing in the Olympics, what is everybody going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
They've lost that aspiration. And the other thing, Virgil, I know certain people, old school American fight figures, are of the view that the decline of the smoker, the kind of gym shows, has been had a big effect on the American talent pool of amateurs because there's less. They have less fights and they don't have so many, like I say, smokers where you can really get experience from without there being so much pressure on you.
We do 180 fights a year in California.
Yeah.
Half the year they're fighting out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why you see such a. That's why that's why you see such an influx of fighters coming out of California.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coming out of, warmer states and stuff like that. Look, our amateur programs got to get better, got to get tighter, stuff, and that's where the talent comes from.
But do you think
you get rid of the Olympics?
Do you think
then what?
On the talent, we're losing out on the talent because there's other like basketball as a competitor, football as a competitor, and even just basically, I mean, everything is a competitor now. So
okay, but look, if you're 6'7", and stuff, it's basketball, right? If not, if there was no basketball, then there's going to be a lot of window washers and stuff.
Yeah.
True that.
Because nobody can get that high. You know what I'm saying?
So I wonder when someone's had the remarkable career that Virgil's had, you can't address it all in one podcast. But I wonder because I know some of the fans are asking questions on this stream as on my page.
I'm sorry.
I wonder if we could play a quick game where I mention an opponent. Maybe you do one, I'll do one, Silk, and I'll go first though. And we get Virgil's quick thoughts on this particular opponent. For instance,
did you say quick thoughts?
Yeah. Quicksilver, right?
That might be that. Quicksilver's this, not.
Okay, well, let's try our luck. The first one, because this came from the fans. Henry Mask.
That biggest payday, best fight ever.
Best fight ever. What your proudest achievement?
I would say it's my top achievement for sure.
Yeah.
Top 5 for sure. Yeah.
Silk.
Wayne Couplet.
Don't remember.
Okay, you use your turn.
we have a lot of mutual opponents, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Wayne? Gosh.
Yeah, like I fought him like for the Canadian title. He was a Canadian kid who fought, and you also knocked him out. You knocked him out earlier than I did. In fact, you took
No, was it before world title or after?
yeah,
Before.
This is early.
Okay. I fought him in Williston, North Dakota, right? Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's the only time I fought in Williston, North Dakota. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Okay. I really quickly.
Perfect for the level that I was at.
Yeah.
To go forward. Yeah.
Donnie Lalonde.
Hey, you're cheating. You're going 2 in a row. But Silk, your audio's a little quiet, Silk. Your audio's gone a little quiet.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, then.
Donnie Lalonde.
Go on, let's do it.
If I lived in his town, we'd be best friends.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I love him.
Great guy.
I mean,
look, he's the only guy that fought for 2 belts in two different divisions.
Mm-hmm.
They fought at light heavyweight and I think super middleweight, him and Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
How does that work?
That was interesting, Virgil. What it was initially for Donnie's light heavyweight title, WBC. The WBC had not yet offered a super middleweight title, and they suddenly inaugurated one. Something else is going on with my volume echoing back now, sir. Maybe
mine too.
I hear you.
So then they said if they both made 168, they could fight for the inaugural super middleweight title as well. A lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah.
Well, then Pacquiao should have just made weight at 108 pounds and then fought for all the other belts.
Yeah.
At one time.
Yeah. So you didn't like that either from Sugar Ray.
Oh, come on, that's not realistic. Why can't I do that? Why can't anybody else do that? Why can't Floyd do that?
Yeah. Once you start messing around with like catch,
that
kind of stuff, lose me there.
And get rid of all these belts. Get rid of all the belts.
Thank you. This is the best guest ever, by the way, Silk. This guy, I knew Virgil as a fighter, but I had no preconception about his character. But he's a fantastic guest. This is the best show ever. Even with a few technical problems, it's still the best show ever.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I've got a word for you. Lou DeVal, Honey Boy.
First time I got knocked down.
No, that was it.
And look, that would have been a tough fight if he wouldn't have went away from all he was throwing was a big right hand after that.
Yeah.
I beat him in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Yeah.
Yeah. My
man
with that left hand, right? I mean, he cracked with that thing. He used a south.
Yeah.
He was crafty. He's in good shape.
Good fighter. Really good fighter, just mismanaged.
Yeah, right? That's
totally mismanaged.
Yeah, and that happens.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's just part of the beast.
Yeah.
How about Leslie Stewart?
They underestimated me.
Mm-hmm.
I had fought 10 times that year. 10 times. I was fight ready. I wasn't in the gym. I was in the boxing ring 10 times. That totally, they totally missed that one.
And that was the start of your reign, of course.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Bobby Ches.
Good Bobby Ches.
Brain.
Smartest, brightest guy I ever fought. Like we got up to talk, at the podium and stuff like this. This guy pulls out a sheet and is reading it from it, and he's Kumu Gulati and really bright guy and stuff. He's up here talking and blah blah blah. So then I get up next and go, well, I mean, after all that, see you guys at the fight. Really bright guy, but probably bar none one of the best commentators ever.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame how Bobby didn't maintain that trajectory in his life and broadcasting and stuff, because supposedly he ended up working as a checkout guy at a supermarket or whatever, which
That's
one thinks he deserves better, really.
well, yeah, but we all need help
Yeah.
sometimes, and instead of maybe extending it, just give him a hand up. Not you don't have to give him a hand out. You just give him a hand up. I mean, this guy had unbelievable boxing knowledge. He was probably one of the best commentators in all of boxing at one point. He just had a drinking habit.
Yeah.
He just it's a tough thing.
Yes.
What do you think the future of professional boxing?
Huh?
What do you think the future of professional boxing is? Is it
Well, until the best starts fighting the best, it's gonna suck.
uh-huh. What do you like
Yeah.
about do you like the Davis Garcia fight, and who are you looking for on that?
Tank,
Tank.
3-division champion.
Yeah.
This guy's a monster right now. I mean, I don't know about his personal life and stuff. He's a little bit messed up, but he is used to being in that because he comes from DC.
Yeah.
He comes from the hood.
Yeah.
He's used to being in that mix, that craziness, that this and that and stuff, and still get the job done.
Does Garcia have any chance at all? And if so, what do you think it is?
Well, yeah, everybody has one. Everybody's got that shot.
Yeah.
But if you listen to Tank talk, Tank will break it down. Tank breaks it down about him. Tank breaks it down about Shakur and stuff. He breaks it down about a lot of people and stuff. He's worked with a lot of guys.
No, I look at Tank's style and his ability, and I rate him as one of the pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world right now.
Silk, something seems to have happened to your audio. Virgil is clear as a bell, but I feel like I'm echoing back, and I wonder if it's the way you're listening to it or.
No, I don't hear. Do you hear me now?
I hear you, but I hear echoes a little bit.
All right.
But
do you hear me now, Ben?
That's
good.
Much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were doing something funny before.
I was just saying that this kid Davis Tank is an incredible talent, and he's able to do things like as an ex-fighter. You look at the things he's doing, and you're like, man, why didn't I?
Look,
But
look, you wouldn't be surprised if you watch this guy train.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be surprised. That's what everybody doesn't see.
Yeah.
Is how this guy he's a monster.
Yeah, he is. His vision is crazy. The vision, like
crazy. Every punch. It reminds me of Pacquiao. Like when Pacquiao hit the heavy bag and stuff, this guy hit the heavy bag like
he's fighting somebody.
Like he's killing the heavy bag.
Yeah.
That's Tank.
Yeah.
Every shot, home run. Blah, 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 blah.
And
every shot.
And you can see him figuring it out. You see him thinking, and he's setting his dudes up consistently.
Yeah.
Every single punch that comes at him is the opportunity.
He's not an accountant. He's not a teacher. He is a consummate fighter.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what they put him on the earth to do. That's what he's going to do. He's hungry. He's going to.
Mm-hmm.
I have this problem because most of my gym is Latino.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have these arguments, right? No.
That's funny.
Some people,
Coach, you don't know what you're talking about
because they don't like him personally. Some people don't like him, like you say. You talk about the outside the ring stuff.
No, I mean, look, personally, he does. What he does is his own business and stuff, and but when you're in front and stuff, you have to present yourself better for the other kids coming up.
Yes.
And stuff, and that's what you want to do. But I'm not saying not everybody does that. Not everybody has that same mindset and stuff like that. But as a fighter, he's a 3-division world champion.
Yeah.
I would dispute that he's a 3-division world champion because the light welterweight claim is very spurious, I feel. But nonetheless, he's a fantastic fighter regardless.
Yeah.
Well, what was the
potato?
Yeah.
What was yeah. I mean, you can't say WBC is better than anybody else these days.
But no, but here's what you can say. Here's what you can say. When some guy's won all 4 belts and his name's Josh Taylor from Scotland, and then you claim to be a world champion at that same weight that he only totally unified a couple of weeks earlier, you can say, get the fuck out of here. You are not a light welterweight champion of the world. You can say that very legitimately.
So that's what Tank is saying?
Yes. That's why I
welter.
say it, Silk.
Who did he beat for the junior welterweight title?
I can't remember the guy's name because it's very hard to keep track these days, even for himself.
Well, Virgil, I was going to ask you, Virgil, what are you doing now? Do you have fighters that you're raising, training? What's?
Oh, I have amateur fighters, and I have one little pro fighter and stuff, but at a very low,
Mhm.
like I said, I never fought at that level,
Yeah.
because of the Olympics and stuff like that. But I'm busy with we put on boxing shows and stuff. My wife is a boxing promoter and stuff, so we put on low level shows and stuff. But it gave me a different insight on things in boxing, and it down there is $300 for your 6-rounder. You know what I mean? Like,
do they have to sell tickets, Virgil? Do the A side have to sell tickets?
The A side, B side, yeah. California is all A side, B side stuff, unless you're Bob Arum or all those big promoters and stuff like that. We're 4-rounder, 6-rounder, 8-rounder guy, promotion and stuff. So we're very, very small.
What town do you live in? What
very humbling. Pardon me?
What town do you live in these days in California?
Santa Clarita, California. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
How far?
It's a very nice area. My gym is in Simi Valley, which is about 30 minutes away and stuff. So, yeah. But it's a small little gym, and I absolutely love it.
Do you have children? Do you have children?
I do. I have, 5, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm like, how many do I have?
No, I have a daughter and a son that live out here. 2 daughters and a son. My Virgil Jr. He played baseball for the Cardinals for a little bit, and then now he's a police officer in Boyntonville, Florida. Yeah. So.
And
very active. All my kids are very active in what we do. My wife is a 4-time Olympian. She's got 2 golds and 2 silvers as track and field, and she's the promoter part. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
I met her in the '84 Olympics.
Wow.
Seriously, what? Do you mind if I ask her name? Because that's fascinating fact.
Her. Then it was Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I tell her, you've been a Hill longer than you've been a Howard, so
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, Deneen Howard. Yeah. 4 Olympics, 2 golds, 2 silvers, and I met her in the '84 Olympics out here in Los Angeles.
And so when you were out there and what were you guys in the mess hall and you met? Like, how did you meet?
Yes. Yeah, my man. Yeah, the cafeteria. That's where it was. Yeah, and I was cutting weight so hard I was just eating a little thing of Dwyer's ice cream and a piece of bread. So it wasn't, She probably felt sorry for me and came down and sat next to me.
That's sweet, man.
It looks like it worked out anyhow.
Huh?
It looks like it worked out for you guys anyhow.
Well, we valleys and high peaks.
Yes.
Deep valleys and high peaks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, baby.
Well, I've got to say, this has been a particularly fantastic show, Virgil. And
Thank you. I had a wonderful time with you guys.
This is a perfect hour segment if we close it now. What Silk likes to do, just as I'm about to close it like an absolute ice cold pro, he likes to suddenly come in with something else and go on for another 10 minutes. That's his kind of bit of shit. Are you going to do that this week, Michael, or are we good?
I think we're good this week. Virgil definitely got me. He definitely satiated the brain.
The curiosity. Okay.
Well, thank you.
we will hang around and have a quick chat with you off camera. But I'm just going to close this for the ladies and gentlemen tuning in now.
Well, listen, I appreciate you guys and what you do. You keep up this good work.
Yo, brother,
we need this in boxing.
We'll try, champ. Listen, guys.
Absolutely.
We'll have another fantastic guest, hopefully, although unlikely to be quite as fantastic as this week's.
Yeah.
Couldn't be done without keep punching. Okay.